Welcome to the School Ministries Middle School curriculum titled God's Rescue Mission.
"20 years ago, when I started as School Ministries Executive Director, I wanted to avoid theological conflicts. So when startup release time programs asked me what curriculum should I use, I avoided the issue, saying, use whatever you want. However, this caused a real burden to our programs because it forced them to either create or modify curriculum that was never designed for release time. 13 years later, we started a process where release time programs from across the country gathered together to come up with goals for each grade that would lead to a deeper knowledge of God's Word. We call this the checklist. Programs have used this checklist to evaluate their own curriculum for years, but it got us wondering, what would a curriculum look like if it was built from the ground up with these standards and designed specifically for release time programs and then piloted with programs across the country to make sure it worked? Another challenge was that release time programs across the country have very different schedules. Some meet once a month, and some meet daily, and everything in between. 1 year ago, we began to work with Brian Cretney, an author from Everyday Publications, to develop a curriculum with the following goals. First, we would use the checklist as the structure for the students' learning. It would need to be piloted, and the lessons would need to be modified in real time based on feedback from teachers who were actually teaching these lessons in their classroom. And then finally, the curriculum would need to be constructed so that it could be easily used by release time programs and the diversity of schedules that our programs have. The title of this project and the curriculum was God's Rescue Mission.
This project was a big challenge, but the idea of reaching public school students with the gospel is a very compelling one. And so very quickly we decided that we would try to reach the middle school students. We developed an online platform where teachers could go after teaching the lessons and provide feedback. And this feedback was very helpful because it helped me to know what wasn't very clear in previous lessons and fix those. But it also let me into the way that the teachers were thinking and ideas that the teachers had to reach their students.
My name is Jennifer Kaler, and I'm a release time Bible education teacher with a School Ministries program based in South Carolina. Our ministry had the privilege and joy of being a part of the School Ministries curriculum development team. What was great was that the lessons in God's Rescue Mission have a modular construction, and at the very beginning of the teacher's guide, there's information on how you can shorten those lessons or lengthen each lesson to fit the specific schedule for your release time local program. Today, I'm actually at the School Ministries office recording a video for the member zone, which will actually go through those points and tips in more depth.
Receiving this ongoing feedback from teachers was very helpful for me because it gave me some insights as to some of the challenges that release time teachers face when presenting the Bible and the gospel to students who either have no home church or have a very little working knowledge of the Bible. Teachers, especially today, have to find ways to engage students and to keep them engaged. And so receiving feedback from the teachers really helped as we were able to incorporate a lot of ideas from a lot of really excellent teachers out there.
Engaging students is critical in any classroom. One of my favorite aspects of God's Rescue Mission is the creativity in the activities. There are games and activities that really highlight the lesson that's being taught that day. Also, the graphic design of the book is impressive so that students are not just looking at dry text and boring worksheets, but something that will really engage them and get them excited about what you're doing in the classroom.
The final step that we had with God's Rescue Mission was getting the form as functional as possible for our teachers. We wanted the student's guide to get under the price of ink and paper so that it was cheaper for programs to get a copy of the student's guide than to copy it themselves. That way the quality would be very high for our students, yet cost effective for our programs. We also focused on the form factor. We went with a slightly larger than 8.5 by 11 page, so that when the pages were removed, they would be 8.5 by 11. And then we also decided to hole punch and perforate the pages of the student guide. That would give teachers the greatest flexibility on how they used the student guides.
In the pilot, we had those ranging from new teachers all the way to those who were veteran teachers with a lot of experience presenting these lessons. And so I believe that God's rescue mission will be something that school ministries will be able to use to train new teachers, as well as provide something of value and hopefully of substance to those who bring a lot of experience into the classroom.
I hope that if you are teaching middle school students, you'll take a strong look at God's rescue mission. My prayer is that it will be a tool to help you reach public school students across the country with the gospel of Jesus Christ.